You will invade the Arabian Peninsula, and God will grant it. Then Persia, and God will grant it. Then you shall invade Europe, and God will grant it. Then you shall attack the Antichrist, and God shall give you over to him. The messenger of God, Muhammad, was then asked, which of the two cities will be conquered first, Constantinople or Europe? And the Holy Prophet replied, the city of Constantinople will be conquered first. Hadiths. The above excerpt is from one of the hadiths, sayings, of Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet was predicting what things must come to pass as a sign of the coming of the Day of Judgment. We should review these promises in their historical context one at a time, and we will see that everything God has said would happen has happened. You will invade the Arabian Peninsula, and God will grant it. The religion of Islam began in Mecca in the year 622 AD, after which a great struggle began for the Arabian Peninsula. The Muslims were not allowed to practice their religious beliefs while they were still threatened by their Meccan enemies. In 631 AD, Islam conquered the entire Arabian Peninsula, and all the tribes and branches of the Arabians were united under the banner of Islam. God did as he said he would. Then Persia, and God will grant it. Islam spread itself quickly through religious war, and shortly after its first victory of uniting the Arabian Peninsula, it united the Arabians with the Persians under Holy War. The Holy War for Syria, Palestine, Iraq, Mesopotamia, Armenia, Egypt, and the invasion of Iran, Persia, began in approximately 637 to 644 AD. The actual conquest and control of these areas was not complete until the assimilation of the Persian culture sometime in the year 687 AD. Again, God did as he said he would. The city of Constantinople will be conquered first. In 660 AD, after Ali was assassinated, a corrupt Muslim became caliph. He pushed Arab armies across North Africa and unsuccessfully attacked Constantinople by sea. The time for the conquering was not yet, but God kept his word. Finally, from 673 to 78 AD, Muslim armies besieged Constantinople and would practically control it until modern times, with only a few exchanges in between. Again, God did just as he promised. Then you shall invade Europe, and God will grant it. Islam began its invasion of Europe from its strongholds in the northern African continent in 711 to 714 AD. Muslims conquered most of Spain. History clears up what Prophet Muhammad meant by Europe. He meant Spain, which gave Muslims an entrance into the rest of Europe. God did just as he said he would. Then you shall attack the Antichrist, and God shall give you over to him. It was at the Battle of Tours in 732 AD that France finally stopped Islam. This completed the great historical Islamic conquests. Islam had expanded itself to most of its current borders by this time. It was by this era that the followers of Islam began to think nothing could stop them, and so they felt they no longer needed God. They started trusting in themselves, the Antichrist. For this they lost their rights to conquer and spread Islam. Methriah explains this in Thoth. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Revelation 2 verse 26. The power over the nations was given to the Muslims when in a short period of time they conquered so many great nations, such as Persia and Rome. This was possible only because they were following the true teachings of Prophet Muhammad at that time. Also, it was his will, Revelation 6 verse 8. Thoth Holiest 3, T8 v28. When Muslims stopped following the will of God, they stopped conquering land as was promised to them in the Revelation. Prophet Muhammad continued with his explanation of the things to come. Prophethood, meaning himself, will remain with you for as long as Allah wills it to remain. Then Allah will raise it up wherever he wills to raise it up. Afterwards, there will be a reign of violently oppressive rule, and it will remain with you for as long as Allah wills it to remain. Then there will be a reign of tyrannical rule, and it will remain for as long as Allah wills it to remain. Then he fell silent. Hadiths. Prophethood. Allah will raise it up wherever he wills to raise it up. Muslims believe that Prophet Muhammad will be the last of the prophets. But here is one example when Prophet Muhammad made it clear that God will rise up prophets as God chooses, not as men believe. Prophet Muhammad also gave 2 signs when 2 prophets will appear. The first sign is when, Sign 1, a reign of violently oppressive rule, RS. Prophet Muhammad's sign for the appearance of the first prophet is when the governments of Islam will rule by violence and ignorance. The governments after the 4th Caliph, Umayyad, the Abbasids, and the Ottomans and many others, represent such governments. This prophecy continued until the advent of Bab, founder of Baha'i faith. As promised, God sent his prophet during this time. The conflict between the Bab and the government of Persia is well documented. Read William McKelwey Miller, The Baha'i Faith, Its History and Teachings, S. Pasadena, California. William Carey Library, 1974. The Baha'i Faith's major contribution to the eternal divine path is its universal outlook. Nevertheless, the faith failed to keep itself unified throughout its dispensation, and it failed to unite the religions of the world by all but ignoring the mysticism of the Far East, focusing most of its attention on the Judeo-Christian Islamic traditions. See Mithra's discourses on the explanation of the 5th and 6th seals. It is therefore necessary that 2 other religions come before the unification of religions is possible. For the complete explanation of the 5th seal, I would refer you to Thoth, Revelation of the Revelation, T19, v1-6. Of course, the Bab/Baha'i faith was not perfect and had many things not correct, as God has revealed in the Revelation. For example, Bab created a calendar of 19 months, each with 19 days. Each month and day of each month was given in remembrance of one of the letters of the living, his first 19 disciples. This new calendar is a direct contradiction with the Quranic calendar and created dispute over the faith of the Bab. The following verse in the Quran is the aforementioned one. God has ordained the months 12 in number when he created the heavens and the earth. Of these 4 are sacred according to the true faith. During the No, by the moon, by the departing night and the coming dawn, it is a dire scourge, a warning to mankind, alike to those you that would march on those that would remain. So the year should be 12 in number, not 19, as Bab made it to be. Also, by the departing night and the coming dawn, it is a dire, means day starts with sunset, not sunrise as some human follow, and morning starts at sunrise, not at 12 a.m., as man has made it. It also means that day should start at sunset to sunset, departing night and coming dawn, confirming the way a day is calculated in the Bible, the evening and the morning. For more information on the Baha'i Faith, go to Questions on the Baha'i Faith. Of course, God has prophesied of the coming of the Baha'i Faith as the 5th seal. And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the spirits of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. For further explanation on this verse in the Revelation and the parallel found in the Quran, I would direct you to Thoth, especially Revelation of the Revelation, T15, v1-5. Mithra also explains in Thoth the violence that was inflicted on the followers of the Bab's faith under the violent leadership of Persia. The true founder of the Baha'i faith was Bab. One of the titles Bab gave to himself was Baha'u'llah, who was martyred. His teachings were not perfect. That is the reason why later on Baha'u'llah, one of Bab's disciples, tried to perfect his teachings, and he changed many things. We use the name Baha'i faith for this church because it is better known by this name. Also, because the followers of Bab went through much persecution, they lost much of their strength. To make the movement survive, many things were changed at the time of Baha'u'llah so that his followers might be able to survive in their hostile environment. Thoth, Revelation of the Revelation, T7, v4-6. Sign 2. A reign of tyrannical rule, RS. The second sign given by Prophet Muhammad is the reign of tyrannical rulers, which is the rulers came to the Islamic world after Bab, secular and totalitarian governments. The transition between the violent governments of the Middle East into the tyrannical governments is symbolized in the Bible as 2 beasts. The second beast tyranny is, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. Revelation 13 verse 12. This is to say that the second beast arises out of the first beast's authority, which is historically true. The very next chapter of Revelation, chapter 14, promises the coming of a prophet that gathers his flock. According to the Revelation, "And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Shaun, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads." Revelation 14, verse 1. This is the same promise Prophet Muhammad gave, that during the reign of the tyrannical Islamic rulers, the beast out of the earth, a prophet would come, the lamb standing on Mount Zion. This prophet is Mithriah. For a better understanding of the meaning behind the biblical term, Mount Zion Shaun, I would refer you to Thoth, Mount Zion, and Zion. Again, God has done, just as he promised he would. The apostle of Allah said, "Were there remaining but one day of the duration of all time, God would send forth a man from the people of my house, who will fill the earth with equity as it has been filled with oppression." Islam, Hadith of Abu Dawud. We are given yet another prophecy by the Hadiths about the nature of the prophet to come after Prophet Muhammad, who according to Scripture will bring the kingdom of heaven on earth, who will fill the earth with equity. There are two major points that will be looked at and give us an understanding that Mithriah is indeed the fulfiller of this prophecy, a man from the people of my house. Furthermore, Mithriah is a Sayyid. Sayyid is a title that is only given to those who are from the lineage of Prophet Muhammad. In Islam, it is prophesied that Mahdi, their expected one, will be from the lineage of Prophet Muhammad, as did the Babish/Baha'is. He will be born as a Sayyid, as a descendant of Prophet Muhammad through his daughter Fatima and his son-in-law Ali, the fourth Imam of Islam. Those who are called Imams or Sayyids in his genealogy are Sayyids. You cannot become Imam if you are not descended from Prophet Muhammad. There are many such people in Mithriah's genealogy, such as Imam Muhammad Suli Beg Khan, father of Nadir Shah. Therefore, Mithriah is also from the lineage of Prophet Muhammad, a Sayyid. Also, we can see that the tradition is incorrect and is against God's will, that only children from the father can be considered as Sayyid. God gave Prophet Muhammad no son to start this tradition, which is copied from Jews. And so children from the daughters who are from Prophet Muhammad's lineage should also be a Sayyid. Since Lutf, Ali Khan married the daughter of Sayyid, Imam, Abu al-Abdul Hassan, the lineage coming from the daughter of the Sayyid Abdul Hassan, who is a Sayyid or a lineage of Prophet Muhammad, are also Sayyid. Mithriah is from this lineage. Later we will see the significance of Mithriah being a Sayyid prophetically. The signs of the last hour in Islam, in chronological order. Because the description of the Day of Judgment is so vast in the Quran and its surahs, I can only briefly summarize them and their fulfillment. 1. The coming of the final spiritual prophet, Muhammad ibn Abi Diallah. This has already taken place in the ministry of Prophet Muhammad from 622 AD to 632 AD. This part of religious history is described in the Bible, Revelation 2 verses 18 to 29. 2. Knowledge of Islam will be taken away while ignorance will increase. This removal of knowledge will be because old scholars, and those who knew Quran by heart, will die and fewer will remain, and fewer new scholars, intellectuals, will replace them. Many leaders of the Muslims will be chosen from ignorant people, and they will rule according to their whims. Some also will be good leaders. We saw this sign explained previously. This deals with the violent and tyrannical rulers of the Islamic nations. 3. Many people will claim to be prophets, followed by the Antichrist, Al-Dajjal. This is the same thing that Christ warned his disciples about in Matthew 24 verses 23 to 26. The word Antichrist is the spirit of animosity toward God and the truth. This is explained in the Bible in the following books, chapters, and verses. 1 John 2 verse 18. 1 John 2 verse 22, 1 John 4 verse 3, 2 John 1 verse 7. For Al-Mehdi will come at the end of the violent rulers. He will call to the true Islam. His name will be exactly like that of the Prophet. Muhammad ibn Abi Diallah. He will be descended from Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet. Al-Mehdi is a description of the Prophet Bab, whose birth name was Muhammad, and who came during the time of the violent rulers, which as we discussed earlier was the violent Islamic empires. The Bab was a descendant from Muhammad through his daughter Fatima. See the Dawnbreakers, Nabil. The Bible explains the revelation and events of the Bab in Revelation 3 verses 1 to 6. This all took place around the year 1844 AD. 5. Two great powers will fight and kill each other, both having the same religion. This refers to the final great war of history, World War II. The Bible records this war as Armageddon in Revelation 16 verse 16. Of course, Mithriah explains Armageddon as a continuous struggle between good God and bad evil on earth until good God prevails. My interpretation is another way to look at God's words. Immediately after this war, the seventh angel, Mithriah, pours out his bowl of wrath, judgment, in Revelation 16 verse 17. It is important to note that Mithriah was born in November 1944, just after the completion of World War II. This all took place around 1938 to 1944 AD. 6. The sun will rise from the west. The term sun in holy text can mean prophets or God's revelation. The sun has always risen from the east. The prophets have always come from the east. But after the war between the two powers, Revelation 16 verse 16, the prophet will arise in the west, Revelation 16 verse 17. Mithriah is the first prophet to begin his mission in the West in 1982. The dispensation of Mithriah is unfolding as we speak. This dispensation will be solidified in the year 2017 to 18. 7. Smoke will appear all over the earth. And then the last hour. Then the angel Israfil will blow a trumpet, and the resurrection of all human beings will begin. The term smoke is similar to the biblical word clouds, which denote the confusion on earth that surrounds the appearance of the prophets. The words last hour refer to the opening of the sixth seal, Revelation 3 verses 7 to 11, which is the advent of the prophet Baba. Baba was born before the start of World War II, but his prophetic mission began in 1945. The angel Israfil refers to the seventh angel in the Bible. The seventh angel's revelation revitalizes all human affairs, resurrection. As we can tell from the ending of World War II, the seventh angel should be born shortly after its ending, Revelation 16 verse 17, which would be in 1944. This seventh angel is Mithriah, and God has done just as he promised he would, because the Mithriah is here.